Hello everyone and Happy New Year. I know you're watching it not on 1st of January, but I am recording it now, so why not say Happy New Year to all of you. I'm very excited about this year because it's not 2020, so that's good enough. But anyway, let's go back to work. So we are very close to having an interface where we can upload our Excel file and start parsing that data and putting it into our database, which is great. And so where we start obviously is committing our changes. Git add all and git commit message, and I'm gonna say, what did we change the last time? Oh yeah, the links. Changed links to use Django URL tags. Okay, so let's start with the front end, which is the HTML form that we require for uploading the Excel file. So let's go to templates, air pollution, and welcome. For now, it's empty. It only extends base HTML. So if you refresh, it only shows us the navbar and the footer. So let's go in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize something that we already have somewhere in index.html. I think I already looked at it. Yes, so the contact section, if we go to the main page, and that's the thing about Bootstrap. I use Bootstrap because it comes with a lot of features already in there. So all I have to do is I have to copy and paste certain components. So I'm going to use this and I'm going to put it in the air pollution app. So I'm going to copy this one here from here to the end of that section here. So let's go back. Maybe for me it's easy, but let's go a bit slower. So this comment here says that the new section starts from the next line. So I'm going to take this header, and if you keep your mouse at the level of this first tag, section tag, and just look for the same closing section tag here, that should be enough. So I use shift and click, and then it selects it from here to where I click. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, and to paste it in my welcome HTML that extends base HTML, obviously I need to create this block in here called content. And does it, I think it can be just called content. Yes, and close end block. Okay, and inside of this block content, I paste the form section. And just a reminder, why block content? Let's go back to the base HTML that we are extending in welcome HTML, and we have this block content here. So basically, if we extend a base HTML, if we put something inside of that block content here, it goes and is being injected in here. So that's how we want to approach this. Just a reminder. Okay, so that's not the contact section, it's the upload file section. Ooh. Upload file section, page section, it's not ID contact. The ID in here, it's going to be import form, I think. Let's go to our app. Just want to make sure I'm using the right import form. Yes, I want to use this name. So let's go here, import form, that's fine. Again, reminder, why am I using import form? It's because when we are in air pollution welcome, I want to be able to scroll to import form ID, which will be in here, in this section. So it's going to go and scroll to this section. Okay, contact me will be changed to upload file. Upload file, and you can use any other naming convention. That's how I want to call it, upload file. You can call it, I don't know, new data or something. Icon driver, that stays. And as you can see, there's a lot of code, a lot of HTML. So if you're not familiar with HTML, you might feel like it's pretty overwhelming, but that's okay. I felt exactly the same. I think everyone feels exactly the same when you start using something like Bootstrap. But the beauty is you only need to know what you're changing and maybe just some basics of HTML and basics of Bootstrap, because there's a couple of classes that you can use for quick styling instead of building your own styles. You have them at your disposal using Bootstrap, so that's the beauty of it as well. So anyway, so I'm gonna just go scroll down. That's this part, so I can leave it as it is. Maybe we can change this icon to something like a file, but I'm gonna leave it for now. So if we look here, so I'm gonna just delete this comment here because it doesn't really, and also it's not contact section form, it's going to be called upload file section form. And then we have some division, and then the form starts here. So that's where we want to start editing. So basically what we want to keep is maybe 2 inputs. That's called input. This, and this. They're 4 different inputs. I think this is actually a text area, but I'm going to get rid of these 2 and leave these 2 and change this from text to number type. And this will be a file type, because we want to be able to say, okay, the data comes from this here, and also here's the file. So let's go to the first input, and the whole thing actually starts here and ends here. The whole name and all this nice styling comes with the whole shebang here. Okay, so that's how we can see the inputs. So that's where the form starts, and these are separate inputs. First one, second one, and we can get rid of the rest. So from here, let's scroll down to 2 inputs deleted. I'm going to leave this break line here. BR means break line. Here is some division created by Bootstrap for probably putting in a success message by JavaScript. I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to use JavaScript for now. I'm going to get rid of some of the code that will disable JavaScript, and we will go back to it when we are more comfortable with Django and HTML, and then we can start using JavaScript as well. So for now, I'll leave it because I actually have an idea how to use it with Django. But anyway, let's start from the beginning. So we have this section import form, that's fine. And then what we want to do is we want to start with this form. So this form won't be ID contact form. And I kind of have a hunch, I'm pretty sure that JavaScript is using this ID here to grab this form and do some stuff with it. And I can see no validate here as well. So what it says is, it doesn't allow HTML to validate if the form is valid or not. The JavaScript is taking care of it. But for now, we want to be able to do it ourselves. I mean, using HTML. So I'm going to delete this. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Let's change this to upload dash file. And as you can see, I changed that to dash and not underscore because it's like a HTML convention. You see here, they're using the dashes instead of underscore. So I'm going to just stick to this. Depending on the language, they have different conventions. The name will be the same. So upload file. And then we need to specify type, encryption type. And here we have some suggestions. So I'm going to go with multi-part form data. That's how we send a file with our form. Then we need to specify method. So the method will be, you can have get or post. Get is where the form is supposed to get some information from the server. Post is when we send something to the server. So obviously here it's going to be post. The last bit, so again, before it was handled by JavaScript, so probably we can in the future play with Ajax and so on in JavaScript. But for now, I just want to use a view from Django that will be an action for this form. So basically action property in form, it specifies where that form is supposed to be sent on the server side. So in here, it's going to be, and I don't have that view yet. I didn't create this URL yet, but I'm going to just put it in here, URL. And what it's going to be something like air pollution colon upload file. Okay. This is what I'm going to call my URL. It's not there yet. So right now it will give me an error. And if I save and go to my form, as you can see, it doesn't work because it can't find upload file URL. Okay. So, and this is something that we expect to see. I'm going to take this lower. So that's finished, I think. Yeah, so form is finished. And with Django, when you use a method post, and because you're sending something into our server, you might be hacking the server. So what we need to put in here is the CSRF token. And CSRF stands for cross-site request forgery. I don't know exactly what it is. The thing is, it can be harmful, and Django is so awesome that it takes care of it just with this very simple line of code. Okay, so that's done. So the next bit will be probably changing the input fields. So let's have a look, just quick look at the classes here. It seems to be standard formatting, so I'm going to leave it like this. And class can do a lot of things in HTML. It can be used by JavaScript to catch certain elements. So we say, oh, find me all the control group classes, but also it can be used for formatting. So if you have a CSS file, in that CSS file, you can say all the HTML elements with form group class do this, be styled like this. So this is why it has so many different classes here, because they do slightly different things for styling. But anyway, so the first input will be called, let's say, year, and then class, that's fine, year. We need the name as well, because again, if that was handled by JavaScript, we can only use the ID, and then JavaScript takes care of formatting the data being sent to the server side. But because we're using this action property, we need to give it a name as well. Actually, we don't need to give it the ID. We only need to give the name. So let's call it year. The type will be, instead of text, it's going to be number. And if you want to know all the different types for input, there is number, text, email. There is a couple of more, so you can just Google, let's say, HTML input types, and then you can see different types you can use. Placeholder, let's say here. Required, yes. So required equals required. And then this is also something for JavaScript. We can leave it empty for now. I will use this in the future, so I'm just gonna leave it empty like this. Okay, and then help log, danger. So that's also for JavaScript. In case of validation going wrong, the validation would say something in here. And that's pretty powerful. Using JavaScript is smart way of doing things. But for now, I don't want to overwhelm anyone with the amount of things we are showing here. So let's go to the next input. So the label will be just file. Okay. And then ID, again, we don't need that, but I'm going to put that in here anyway. So let's call it file name. There's going to be a lot of file, and then type is also file. It does different things. Type file tells HTML to give us this little window where we can select a file. The name file is something that we send with this request, with this form, as we send the post request to our server. The file will be called file then. Placeholder, there's no placeholder for input type file, so we can take that away. And then required, yes. Again, this will be empty for now. Seems okay. Success. So this is where the JavaScript would put the success message. We can do it as well, and I'll show you in a second how. Let's say, well, I can put it here anyway. So if there is something like message success, then it's, well, if it's not there, then nothing's gonna go in there. If there is something, then it will display message success. And in the context, we can put that message success in a second. And another thing here, so that's the button. Again, I'll change it to probably that's communicating with the JavaScript, and I don't want, JavaScript to stop me from using this form as by default. So by default, it's supposed to use action, but JavaScript has a way to kind of stop the form from going with the default behavior and do its own magic. So I want to change it to, say, upload, and the text that displays on the button will be also upload. Okay, and the type of the button. So the button is the tag, but the type of it has to be submit, and it has to be inside of the form to know what to submit. Okay, so now let's refresh, and it's gonna still show this because we don't have the URL. So let's go to URL now in air pollution URLs, and so I'm gonna create another path in here, and this one will be called, so let's say upload file and comma views dot upload file. And again, we don't have that view yet. We need to build it in a second. And the name will be, and that's the name that we passed in HTML, upload file. It's nice to use the same name for all of them. So that's the URL that you see in the browser. That's the function that we need to build in views. And that's the name in Django that we gave it. And we don't make a mistake if we name them all the same. Okay, and they play different roles. As I mentioned, this is in browser, this one is a function in views, and this is just a name that we use in HTML. Okay, so let's now go to the views. So let's just build the def upload file request, and let's just copy this because it's going to be very similar. And I can see already that this will be a problem because the name will be different. So we might need to come up with a different solution, put that in a second. We will use the same welcome HTML. So that's all the same. So maybe we can add in here the message success. And that message will say file successfully uploaded, or uploaded successfully, to make it more English. Me no good English. Okay, and yeah. So as I said, we're using the same template. So this welcome HTML here, for example, has this message success here. If we are using this template using the welcome function, then it's not going to pass any message success, so it's going to be empty. But if we pass something in there, then we can fill it with this text. Okay, and let's see how it works. So let's refresh this, and it seems to be working. Oh, I can see there is margin required. So let's go back to HTML. And actually, that's pretty easy. I'm going to just push it here. So that whole section, we can push it from top using this class. And that's the Bootstrap class. Top, so margin top 5. So that's the biggest margin that we can use, that we can create with this with this method. And that worked. I don't need any more margin there. Okay, cool. So let's try to send nothing, and it does give us the validation. It's not very pretty, but it's very it works, so it's good enough for now. Let's put this 2016 here, and in here 2016, and upload. And nothing happened except for the fact that we have this file uploaded successfully text put in here. So it's not very pretty. I'd imagine it would look nicer, but this is one way of doing messages. There's actually a module for Django called messages that we can use in the future, but just showing you that you can put this feedback here or anywhere else if you want, and this is how you would approach it. One thing that I mentioned before, and as you can see here, we don't have our navbar because the view name of this view is not specified in navbar, but we are in the same app. We're in the same app name. We're still in air pollution. So I think the good idea here would be not looking at the view name, but looking at the app name instead. So if we go to the website, so that's the home page, we are now looking at a view from website app. And if we go to our air pollution app, now we are in air pollution app. But when I click, so let's put in 2016 and upload file. For now, we are not uploading it really. We just send it to the server and nothing happens with this file. So I can do it again. And now this is not there because although I'm in air pollution page, it's not exactly the same view name. So let's fix this. Let's go to the base. And as I mentioned, we're looking at the view name. So that's something we need to fix. Instead of looking at the view name, we want to look at a app name. App name, and that's not going to be a view name. I think it was app name. Let's give it a try. If it doesn't work, we can check with debugger what exactly is the variable we were looking for. Let's change it to app name. Okay, and then we need to change it in website as well. Views, app name. Okay, so the views are fixed. Now we need to change it in base HTML as well. So instead of view name, let's have a look where view name appears. We have view name here, what else? Here, and that's it. You see that highlight, green highlight here, here, and here. So we need to change this to app name, and we don't specify view name anymore, just the website in here, app name and website. And in here we go and change it to app name, and app name is supposed to be air pollution. Save it, and let's go here, refresh, send again. Yeah, it's kind of remembers that this view was generated by sending a post request, and it's asking me again, do you want to send that post again? Yeah, sure. And we have our navbar back. So let's just scroll down. Click here and it's there, and now I'm gonna just try to upload a file. 2001 is fine as well, and upload. And now I can see it's working the way I want it to work. Okay, I think it's long enough. Let's stop here. So we have our form working. Now what we have to do is we have to fiddle around with views. So this view here, now we are going in here. So the whole magic and parsing and so on will happen in this function here. Okay, so that's for the next video. Thanks for watching and see you later. Bye-bye.